Welcome to TasteTalks, the podcast which hopefully will inspire where you go next, with myself, Keith Matton.
And me, Olivia Byrne, the people behind the award-winning digital magazine, The Taste.ie.
Each week we'll bring you a list of upcoming events, new bites to look out for in your weekly shop, a restaurant spotlight and a travel destination in Ireland.
Once per month we will delve into a special guest's cravings and find out what food makes them happy.
And lastly, we'll read out what has been keeping you hungry on social media this week.
If you're new to this podcast, we highly recommend you check out all our other episodes. We promise they are all packed with foodie inspiration.
Before we start our first ever podcast, we felt it was important to give the guys at Radio Hub Ireland a shout out. Over the past 3 months, we've learned all aspects of how to create, promote and publish our very own podcast. Now we know that our first episode is by no way perfect, but as our trainers Dan and Dara advised, you just need to launch, stop procrastinating and learn by recording regularly. We are very grateful for all the support and insights from the guys at Radio Hub. And if you want to experience expert radio training for yourself, then we highly recommend you check out the courses at Radio Hub Ireland. Just log on to radiotraining.ie today and start your adventure in podcasting. Now, back to the show. For this week's Restaurant Spotlight, we take a look at the Michelin star restaurant Variety Jones, one of the newest restaurants to get the coveted Star Award. Based on Thomas Street in Dublin, near the live venue Vicar Street, this is a small, unassuming exterior. To be honest, if you weren't looking out for it, you would definitely miss it. Painted black outside with absolutely no signage over the door, the only giveaway is their logo, a small face etched onto the glass of the door. Walking in, you'll notice a very slim dining area, which seats about 28 people, and the restaurant is open at the end so diners get to see the magic in the kitchen. The talented chef is Keelan Higgs, who has excellent pedigree from working in restaurants such as Locke's, The Greenhouse, Luna and many more. This time he has perfected the art of cooking over fire, bringing the flavours of his dishes to a new level and making a clever way of creating his sauces from the drippings off the vegetables. So now that I've given you an idea of what to expect, Olivia, can you give us a taste of what's on the menu?
Absolutely. This was such a unique dining experience. So you don't really get the choice of what to eat as in a typical traditional menu. It's very much a trust the chef situation.
And did you like losing control, being the control freak you are?
No, completely freaked me out at the start because, well, you know I have issues.
But you have to admit there was a sense of adventure and excitement around this menu.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. And just to set out what we experienced, so Keelan produces a 6-course dining experience which comprises of snacks, cold, warm, pasta, family style and dessert courses, and all of these courses are presented to you sharing style. So starting with the snacks, of which there were 4, we had the Reuben, the cod roe, which came with these delicious hand-cooked salted crisps. There was potato cake with cured salmon, and then oysters with a Vietnamese dressing.
I think we both agreed the standout snack was the Reuben, with that incredible smoked flavour and the sharp tang of the pickle.
Absolutely. For me, the oysters looked amazing. But, you know, at the moment, I'm not an oyster fan. I just had a bit of a bad experience. So I was definitely pushing them your way.
I've no idea why you don't like the oysters. They were delicious.
No, you absolutely do have an idea. But we're not here to talk about that. I'm sure I will get back on my oyster game soon enough.
Well, I can confirm they were delicious and I would have had 4 of them.
Well, that's as good a recommendation as any. So moving on to the cold course, we had the foie gras and chicken liver parfait served with fermented muscat grapes, pear and quince. So Keelan really wants diners to get involved here, scooping up the parfait with those beautiful warm potato waffles. Now with only one waffle each, the sharing came down to who actually got to the bowl first.
Well, sharing can be hard, and especially if you're two fierce foodies, but I feel sharing is very hard with you.
That's fair enough. My mother always taught me growing up to make sure I fought for my fair share because I grew up the youngest with two very hungry older brothers.
Yes, indeed. And I suppose the next course was the warm, which was the salt baked celeriac.
Yes. Now, this dish was right up my street. You know, I really like just very simple flavours. So the grilled cabbage, the lardo, the aged cheddar mousse, and then that very unique sweetness from the salt baked celeriac. I really thoroughly enjoyed this dish.
A wonderful dish. And moving on, the next course was the pasta course, which was creamy pearl barley risotto topped with a soft egg, a grilled onion, crispy shallots and droplets of house-made Marmite. From the first mouthful, I was in heaven, and I was determined that sharing was not on the cards, so I was given the evil stares across the table every time Olivia picked up her spoon.
Yeah, you were definitely something like a man possessed, and even though pasta wouldn't be my favourite, it definitely wasn't the course I was most excited about, but you know, I would have liked to have tasted, well, any of it really.
Well, next time. So up next, we had the family style, which brought out a venison loin to the table, served with sprout tops and another house homemade brown sauce.
Yeah, that was a really delicious dish too. And then finally we moved on to the dessert course, and I don't know why, but this is always the time of the evening that I choose to remind you of your type 1 diabetes.
Yeah, you always do that. You have the biggest sweet tooth I've ever seen in my life, and I am more savoury, but I do like to get a little taste of the desserts if possible.
Yeah, well, if possible. We had the blood orange cake, which came preserved lemon curd, a vanilla creme fraiche, an absolutely divine creation, and honestly the perfect end to all of the dishes we had. It really complemented it. It wasn't too heavy.
And I suppose we have to give a nod to the two people at front of house. So the first one was Aaron Higgs. He's actually Keelan's brother, and he mans the front of house. He's super cool in his casual Hawaiian shirt, his Magnum PI moustache, and he's definitely got all the fun in him to make a lovely dining experience.
Yeah, absolutely. The people always add to the ambience, and Variety Jones is no exception. Great people at the front of house, including Vanda with that amazing wine list. Vanda is the sommelier and pairs the most delicious wines with each course.
So I suppose to give you a sense of the cost, so the 6-course tasting menu comes in at only €65 per person. For a Michelin star restaurant, this is amazing value.
Yeah, it really is. Absolutely. I would highly recommend, if this is somewhere you would like to try, that you go to varietyjones.ie for booking. Bookings are only available online, and you'll get all the information you need at varietyjones.ie.
So what to look out for in your weekly shopping this week? So this week we took a closer look at a new jar to land in Aldi from Chef Kawanji Chan. He's regularly seen on Virgin Media's 6 o'clock show. He's created a new black garlic peanut chili rayu. Now a chili rayu is it's like the tomato ketchup of Asia. It's an everyday condiment to add flavour and a bit of spice to those daily dishes. So we tried it in a turkey stir fry. It was absolutely delicious. It created a warm kick to the finished dish. And we also tried it on for breakfast. It seems to go extremely well with eggs. And we created a tasty sourdough with smashed avocado, some scrambled eggs and some rayu on top, and it was absolutely delicious. So if you want to try this spicy little jar for yourselves, I think you'll find it in both Aldi and Lidl at the moment, and it should cost you only €4. So Olivia, what did you find?
So this week I discovered a fab new pesto. Well, it's new to me anyway. So pestle and mortar pesto sauces. They have a green pesto and also a sun-dried tomato one. So all week I was craving a big comforting bowl of pasta. I think with the weather getting colder, the evenings darker, that's just the food that I'm craving. So a very simple dinner of pesto pasta with pan-fried fillet of salmon did the trick. It was super quick, relatively healthy. And the green pesto from Pestle and Mortar, it's extremely fresh and vibrant, really lifted, the stodginess of sometimes a pasta dish. It was just made it really light and really nice. I was not surprised to see that they have won a Blossom na Heron award. Pestle and Mortar sauces are actually based in Galway, and a great Irish brand to look out for in your weekly shop.
Well, that's great. We'll be back next week with 2 more items. So next up we have Fiona Dillon, a woman of impeccable taste, an author of 10 books, currently enjoying early retirement. She's an award-winning food writer and has been writing about food since 2010. These days she's best known for her children's brand, Freddy Buttons, and he teaches children worldwide through his food adventure stories. She's also passionate about local food, and she's one of our leading taste reviewers. So Fiona, welcome on to Taste Talks.
Thank you so much, Keith. It's great to be here.
So we're going to talk about Markree Castle. It was a review that I was meant to do, and unfortunately I got sick, so you got the pleasure.
Well, not that I would wish you ill health, but I was rather delighted to take over from you on such an amazing review. And I have to say that it was incredible.
And can you give the listeners an idea of what they would expect when they come up to Markree Castle, how stately it might be?
Okay, so a lot of the properties that we have in this country would be maybe on the edge of a town, in a town, or perhaps you could hear a main road or a motorway from your room or the hotel surroundings. When you drive towards Markree Castle, it's in the centre of about 500 acres. So if you truly want to know the meaning of countryside and old trees and birds and a wonderful silence, Markree is the place to go. I cannot describe it any clearer than that. It's fantastic. And that's just the drive to the castle.
Yeah. So it's sort of like it's a fairy tale castle. Some castles in Ireland, they're castles, but you come up and they're more stately homes. This is a proper castle.
Oh, this is for anyone that loves their fairy tales or is a Disney fan, and I am. This will give you goosebumps.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And so what sort of room did you have? It, I'd imagine it's very different to your normal city hotels.
Oh, it's one of those rooms right now that has the bathtub in the room under this gorgeous, beautiful window with such a view outside it. So I hope I'm doing it justice because it was truly, it brought you back to another time. Like the furniture, it's not new modern furniture. It's what I like to call vintage. And to me holds so many stories that even a wardrobe, I believe, takes on a different meaning when it's been there for so long. And, I wish all of these things could speak, because can you imagine the stories that these pieces of furniture can tell? And not just in the room, but around the whole hotel. Well, I shouldn't call it a hotel. The castle. Let's get used to that. Around the castle.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely sounds unusual to have the bath in the middle of the room, so you can sort of be soaking in the bubbles and looking out the window or
yes,
enjoying a book.
Now, in case, I'm sure there are lots of listeners that are going to think, ooh, I don't like old furniture. And I have to say that the ensuite was totally modern, gorgeous products by Paul Costello. So while, you've got that nod to history, there's also the modern facilities as well, which I think is quite important to a lot of people.
Yeah.
It might work in a bedroom, but certainly not in an ensuite. And they have thought about that, and the facilities are great.
So when you eventually got outside the room, what sort of dining options did you enjoy?
Okay, they have, just to give you a little bit of background about the castle. So this was originally gifted to the Cooper family by Charles II. So you're talking ancient history, and was with the Cooper family for 10 generations. So I just want to put it in context to give you an idea of the building, which was a fort to start with and now is a full-on castle. So the dining room now is made up of 2 huge big old rooms with huge big windows looking out onto the fabulous gardens. So I'm just trying to set the scene here with big old marble fireplaces, and you sit down, and I had a table by the window. You're looking at this incredible view. And then what we experienced it was a set menu for €50. And we had everything from an amuse-bouche to the petit fours at the end, and gorgeous local food in between for €50. It was an amazing offering.
Yeah. And was there any standout dish on the night?
I find it very hard to do a standout dish simply because when I see the likes of goubine chorizo and lots of local dishes, I'm just happy. I'm just happy with the entire menu and how one complements the other. And you're talking about €50 for this outstanding offering.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I do think people have this preconception that if they're going to a castle, it is going to be a major, major spend. But €50, like you wouldn't even get that in Dublin city centre.
Yeah, and you're talking about their seafood plate, which includes goat's bridge trout from Kilkenny. So, there's bits from all over the country brought into this plate, which I think is something that's really special, but something that's happening all over the country, and you might find that too.
Yeah,
that wherever you go, local produce is being pulled from other counties as well as just around them, and to me, that makes for a very pleasant meal.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I have this image of this beautiful fairy tale castle, gorgeous bed, beautiful bath in the middle of the room, your stomach being filled with all this beautiful produce. Afterwards, was there any sort of facilities, bars, or is it really just a holiday where you just give in to the castle and relax?
Well, when you check in, they invite you to explore the castle. So that's not something you hear every day. If you go to check in to a 5-star hotel, you're not going to be told, go and explore. But this is a lovely invite, and it makes you feel that while you're there, you are most welcome and part of the whole scene. And so, okay, we walked up to our bedroom, but before we got to our bedroom, there was a full-size pool table. No, snooker. Which one is the huge big table? I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah,
either.
I think it is snooker.
Snooker. So a full-size snooker table. There was a bar, beautiful outdoor area where you could sit and have a drink, which was just, talk about romantic. Everybody needs to get there.
Yeah.
But also on your way down to the gardens, they had like a butler's kitchen. So you could pop in there and make a cafetiere if you fancied a coffee or make a pot of tea. Everywhere you went, there were just little nuggets that you didn't expect to find as you went around a corner.
Yeah.
So whether you wanted to have a drink, whether you wanted to go for a walk or have a game of snooker, you have all those things there. It's amazing.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I suppose, can you give maybe the listeners an idea of the price range? Like you're just after telling them about the dinner menu, €50 per person. That's amazing. Yeah. So how much would it cost to spend the night in this castle?
Okay, I believe So for a dinner, bed and breakfast is probably in the region of €300. No,
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. But if you think about if it's a special occasion and it includes your dinner, and I have to say the breakfast was lovely as well, back into the dining room that we'd enjoyed the night before.
Yeah.
Chandeliers everywhere, needless to say. But it's definitely worth it. And it's not somewhere that you just check out and go. They have amazing gardens. And I know that they are extremely popular for weddings. But I, being a human celebrant as well, discovered as I walked through the gardens that they had this wonderful area, not too far from the castle, but it felt like a forest in the middle of nowhere that they had just cleared and made into a space for alternative weddings. So if you wanted to have something outdoors, if you wanted a humanist wedding,
Yeah.
you could have it there.
It sounds very romantic.
It is extremely romantic, and that's before you even get to the river with the little boat and the boathouse.
Yeah.
I could talk about this for an hour, no problem. It's not often you come across somewhere that is extremely romantic, or maybe I'm just not a romantic person generally, but this gets to you. This is somewhere that, and you don't, it's rare that you come across somewhere like that.
Yeah, exactly.
You, and it's an experience from the minute you arrive, and you have to walk up these stately stairs to get to reception, beautiful red carpet, big open fire. From the minute you arrive to the minute you drive away, it has been an absolute experience.
Well, I think that is a beautiful snapshot of Markree Castle. And I suppose if people want to read a little bit more about it, you have your full review up on the taste.ie right now.
I do indeed. And on that review, then I go through the actual menu. So you can see when I'm talking about the local produce, you can see that in the feature. And yes, and one last thing.
Yeah.
And I have said this, this is just one last thing, and it's in the review as well. They have, as all castles must have, an Irish wolfhound. Roisin is her name. And as you enjoyed dinner, I could see Roisin mingling with all of the guests that were sitting outside. And she was hugely popular and huge, needless to say. But if you want, and I discovered this too late, you can go to reception and ask for Roisin's lead. And you can take this gorgeous, stately dog for a walk in the woods with you. Now, how unusual is that?
Yeah, these dogs are huge. They'd be up to your waist, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but Roisin, she stole my heart too.
That's so good. Well, listen, thank you so much for giving the listeners a snapshot of what to expect in Markree Castle. And hopefully we'll have you on next week talking about some other amazing place you've been.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
Thanks, Fiona.
Thank you. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
So this week on Travel Destination, we took a look at the west coast of Ireland and the rugged beauty of Connemara. If you've been there, you will know it's one of the most scenic parts of Ireland, with breathtaking views carved around vast mountains, bogs and lakes. In this section, we'll give you some recommendations on places to stay, plus places to visit while you're on your way. So first up, where to stay, and we look at the different types of travellers. Olivia, what's up first?
So up first, we're taking a look at options for couples. So for the couple looking for that romantic stay, then look no further than Ballynahinch Castle. This beautiful castle is set on 700 acres of private woodlands, gorgeous dining areas and charming rooms overlooking the wonderful river view. This authentic and unpretentious castle hotel stands proudly overlooking its own very famous salmon fishery. With a backdrop of the beautiful 12 Bens mountain range, it's very hard not to fall in love with this beautiful hotel. You'll remember, Keith, when we actually were last there, we enjoyed the perfect picnic in the walled garden.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So they'll bring you out, you'll go into the walled garden, it's completely private, you have your own fire pit, your own marquee, and your own private butler who serves the most delicious snacks, champagne, and you have music and everything on the day.
Yeah, we had our own lovely little fire pit as well. Actually, it wasn't little; it was quite large.
Yeah.
Bluetooth speaker, all the extras. It's actually, if you were thinking about proposing, it's probably the perfect place to go.
Okay. You don't have to propose.
You don't. But I'm just saying it's definitely a blowout treat. It's around €200. So.
Yeah. So moving on from the proposal. Moving on.
Okay. So next up, we're taking a look at a family escape. So for an exciting, adventurous family, Delphi Adventure Resort is definitely a must. So Delphi Resort is perfect for all the family. There's a range of accommodation. It includes a free morning kids club throughout the holiday periods, which is great to give the mums and dads a little rest, and a range of family friendly activities on offer every day, all day. So you can choose between family rooms, suites, or there's even dorm style accommodation in the on-site hostel. And each family package comes with a whole range of extras that you get to choose from. So next up, I was going to look at self-catering.
Yeah, perfect.
And one of our favourite spots that we have visited, the beautiful Dolphin Beach House. Absolutely breathtaking, isn't it?
It's stunning. From the road, the Sky Road that you have to drive down, which is on the edge of a cliff and room for just one car.
Oh, well, yeah, two. But for city people like yourself, it definitely feels like a bit of a tight squeeze.
Absolutely. And then once you get to the gates, you're driving down a very, very, very steep driveway down to your private beach. Yeah,
it's one of those places, and I'm sure you'll have experienced it somewhere before, but it's like when you get there, everything else just goes out of your mind. You're completely just engulfed in the whole atmosphere of the place. You are literally on the edge of the sea. It is definitely one of the most spectacular experiences I think you can have in Ireland in a self-catering accommodation.
Absolutely. Like every single window is facing the private beach. The sound of the wind when you're waking up, the absolute amazing weather. It sort of is trapped in a little bay for yourself there. And even at night time, you've got the fire pit and you can sit around and you can have a nice bottle of wine.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things, I suppose, in Ireland, we have a certain amount of such good weather. And then, the majority of the time, the other 325 days of the year, it's very give or take. But one of the things I loved about Dolphin Beach House was no matter the weather, the views are so exquisite. The house is so cozy. You have a big open fireplace. Everything, the kitchen, it's all beautifully laid out. It's a real home from home, but a step up definitely from our home. It has all the extras. We, like an open fire and things like that.
And I suppose there's two distinct places you can stay. The first one is the beach house itself, which has up to 5 bedrooms. It can hold nearly 15 people. It has its own private bar and it has this amazing dining room, which is on the second floor, jutting out and looking at the ocean.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you had a good group of people, it would be amazing. You can even imagine having a micro wedding or, a special birthday, an anniversary, something like that. It's just idyllic.
And then obviously the place where we stayed is the lodge. And the lodge could really hold 3 families.
Well, definitely 3 couples. So I think it was 3 double bedrooms, very generous double bedrooms. If you had young children, you could definitely set up some pull-out beds. There's a large sitting room, and even in the bedrooms, there's definitely room for if you had a little person that wanted to camp in a sleeping bag. There's plenty of room for that.
And very safe. If you've got kids, you've got this private beach, and literally it's no more than maybe a 2-minute walk down to your own beach, completely private. No one else can go into it. And, great fun. You can maybe do a little bit of kayaking or whatever you want there,
Yeah, I would say any children from the age of about 5 upwards will get so much joy. It's definitely a memory for a lifetime, a visit to a place like Dolphin Beach House.
So just moving on, I suppose if you are going to stay in Connemara, some of the places that you might want to visit along your way would be Kylemore Abbey. It's a Gothic nunnery and restored Victorian rooms, and it has free garden tours. And if you're a fan of photography, Oh my God, you just have to turn the camera and you get amazing shots everywhere. We spent about an hour, maybe 2 hours there, yeah?
Yeah, the only shame the day we went is we left it a bit late to get there. We had booked our tickets online and I don't know, we were somewhere else that day anyway, but we didn't get there till late afternoon. I would advise, if you're going to be in Connemara for a week, I would put a day, at least a good half day aside for Kylemore Abbey. It is so beautiful. And even though the car park was pretty full, but it's so big, it's never really crowded. Everyone is just spread out and you can do guided tours and that's definitely worth booking as well.
And another tourist destination out that way is the National Park. 2,000 hectares of mountains, bogs, heaths, grasslands, forests. It's just vast. And if you really want to get around it, this will take a whole day.
Yeah, definitely. Even the drive out to it, it's so beautiful, isn't it? Like, you kind of forget you're in Ireland.
It doesn't actually look like Ireland at all.
We were there on a very, very hot day. It was really nice.
And then I suppose there's lots of beaches to take in. But one of the ones we came across was Omey Island, where you can drive on. And it's sort of almost hidden. So it's basically between the mainland and an island, and you can drive on following the signs, and the views and the colour of the water was just incredible.
Yeah, again, it was one of those places that was just so breathtaking. If you go on to their website, ConnemaraCoast.net, as far as I know, that's where you'll get the tide times. So you just to be aware of that if you're driving. But yeah, it's one of the beaches, one of the standout beaches in Ireland that is definitely worth a visit.
Well, that's Connemara, and I suppose we've tried to give you a couple of places to stay and what to look out for, and hopefully it's given you a little bit of inspiration. Next week we'll have a new destination to talk about. So what's been keeping us hungry on social media this week? Well, first up, I've got Bewley's Cafe in Grafton Street have teamed up with Great Irish Beverages to bring the perfect coffee club. It's running on the 2nd, 9th and 16th of December between 6 and 9 p.m. each night, and will be in the James Joyce room. Tickets are priced for 2 people and they're €50. Each guest will be treated to a Bewley's trio of desserts, a signature Bewley's Irish coffee to warm up, and an Irish espresso martini or a Belfast coffee. It's strictly over 18s. It's been ran in accordance with the government restrictions, so the capacity is reduced and tickets are very limited. So Olivia, what have you got there?
So what has been catching my eye on social media as I'm finalising all my Christmas gift shopping is the Lismore Food Company. So their branding, I think, is just so beautiful. It's so eye-catching. A brilliant brand, and they've curated these gorgeous Christmas hampers, and they come in a beautiful vibrant orange hat box. The packaging on every item on the inside is just as beautiful, but most importantly, the taste of every single Lismore creation is just another level of deliciousness. So you're thinking decadent foodie treats such as luxurious hot chocolates, the most amazing biscuits. If you haven't tried their all butter Irish shortbread, you have not lived. They also have this really gorgeous panettone for Christmas, which comes in its own little hat box. It's honestly the most beautiful foodie gift that I've seen, and it's only €30. So definitely have a look on the lismorefoodcompany.com for some gorgeous gift ideas.
Well, that sounds delicious. And next up, I have a partnership between the Cupcake Bloke and Bosch. They're bringing a festive bake-along online, and it happens on Saturday the 11th of December at 11 a.m. And the first 100 people to register will receive the Bosch Bake-Along kit, and it'll be there in advance of the bake-along with all the recipe cards and the dry ingredients. So if you're interested in attending, just pop on to bosch-home.ie/bake for more details.
That sounds like a lot of fun. So something else I spotted on social media was that the Queen's in Dalkey have reopened. So after being one of the very high profile casualties of COVID in 2020, the Queen's has been really stylishly refurbished by top hoteliers Ray Byrne, you'll know him of the wonderful Wineport Lodge, and Owen Doyle of Brook Lodge Hotel. So with a new chef at the helm, Michael Morris-Rowe, Michael has designed a gorgeous new tapas menu to complement the amazing cocktails that are on offer. Some dishes I'm very excited to try based on the images I've seen are the venison bonbon, looks really good, the pickled mackerel on toast, that sounds right up my street, and then the salt baked celeriac with truffle aioli. I mean, all the dishes sound lovely, but those three really stood out to me.
Well, we're after giving you a couple of things off social media this week, and we'll be back next week with some more inspiration. Well, that's it for another Taste Talks podcast.
We really hope you enjoyed listening and that we gave you lots of food for thought.
Please make sure you subscribe to our podcast so you never miss a delicious episode.
And do keep in touch with us on social media using #TasteTalks.
Until next time, make sure you try out some of the tastes we discussed this week.
And if you're feeling generous, why not give us a 5-star review? It will really help us grow and continue our Taste Talks journey. Bye for now.